We are on the record for hearings in the matters listed in the North Dakota Industrial Commission hearing docket for February 26th. I am David Garner, hearing examiner for these hearings. We are at the hearing room for the Department of Mineral Resources, Oil and Gas Division, and it is 9:02 a.m. On the docket, the following matters will be continued or dismissed. Case number 31437, dismissed. Case number 31396, dismissed. Case number 31504, dismissed. Case number 31248, continued. Case number 31509, continued. Case number 31238, continued. Case number 31264, continued. Case number 31511, dismissed. Case number 31452, dismissed. Case number 31512, dismissed. Case number 31269, continued. The administrative docket starts on page 5 with case number 31510 and goes through case number 31534. These cases will be heard in the next room with Michael Zisch. Audio recordings of the cases of the administrative docket will be placed on the oil and gas website by the end of the week. If you wish to appear in one of the matters in the administrative docket, please appear in the next room. If there is opposition to the matter, it will be brought back into this hearing room to be heard, and your statements and evidence will be taken. We will begin with moving to case number 31503. Application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, for an order amending the applicable orders for the Haystack, Butte, Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 1920-acre spacing unit described as sections 5, 8, and 17, Township 148 North, Range 98 West, McKenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 7 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP. I have 3 witnesses testifying, Ashley Hansen, Brenton Chentnick, and Abby Trigg, and they should all be on the line now.
Ms. Hansen,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
And Mr. Examiner, just I guess before we kind of get into the testimony, just for context, this case is kind of a companion to one that we'll hear next. You'll see the proposed 1920 that they're requesting. It splits up an existing 1280 to the south, and the following case will kind of tie that together with development to the south, just so that will be addressed. It'll just be after this case, just
Okay.
for some context. So, Ashley, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Ashley Hansen. I'm employed by Conoco Phillips Company. I am a staff land negotiator, and my business office address is 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
Ashley, have you previously testified before the commission? Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with the proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Ms. Hansen be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Ashley, let's start with your Exhibit 1.1. Can I have you identify the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, the proposed spacing unit is the overlapping 1920-acre spacing unit with 7 well density. The lands included is 14898, sections 5, 8, and 17.
Okay. And then let's move on to Exhibit 1.2, and the first page of that, if I can have you identify your working interest in that proposed spacing unit.
Yes, the Burlington Resources interest is 66.22%. The remaining owners comprise 33.78%.
Okay. And then moving on to the next page of that exhibit, if you can identify the working interest in the underlying spacing units.
Yes, so the first unit is the Logan. Burlington Resources is the operator of a single well in that existing unit. Our interest is 63.78%, and the remaining owners comprise 36.22% working interest. Moving down to the Walter DSU, The Walter is comprised of 14898, Section 17 and 20. Burlington is also the operator of the one single well that is currently producing. Burlington's interest is 71.09% working interest, and the remaining owners comprise 28.91% interest.
Okay, I have no further questions for Ms. Hanson. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Chetnik,
Yes, good morning.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Brenton, can you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Brenton Chetnik. I'm employed by ConocoPhillips. I'm a staff geologist, and my business address is 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas, zip code 77079.
And Brenton, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have, yes.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Chetnik be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Brenton, let's start with your exhibit 2.1. Can you walk us through the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, so the map shown is a structure map shown in TVDSS on the top of the Upper Bakken Shale. You can see that the structure is relatively simple, dipping off to the north-northeast. Nothing in the area would preclude us from being able to effectively execute our planned laterals.
Okay. And let's take a look at your type log, exhibit 2.2.
Yep, so the type log just shows the gamma ray curve for this Berg-Hillman C1, and it's highlighting the top of the Bakken Severance Pool, 50 feet above the Bakken, the Upper Bakken Shale, and then showing the base of the Bakken Severance Pool at the top of the Bird Bear.
And then moving on to 2.3, can you walk us through how you would intend to develop this spacing unit?
Yep, so you can see the overlapping 1920, and you have 7 planned laterals that would be drilled basically from south to north, and you can see the type log down there south of the unit. This is comparable to how we're planning on developing our Haystack Butte unit shown to the east.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Chetnik. I'd offer the exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
What's your planned spud date for this pad?
We're currently working through that.
Will all these wells be batch drilled?
That's typically our plan with the.
What are your plans for the existing wells?
We have to either keep them on production or P&A them. For our Haystack Butte unit, we're working on a P&A plan for most of the existing parent wells. I imagine something similar, but we have not solidified those plans as of yet.
Thank you.
Brenton, do you have a proposed pad to drill these wells from?
We have leads on the surface out in this park. Location is relatively easy to work with compared to other surrounding areas to the east and to the south. So we're working with our land folks on several different locations, and we'll choose the optimal one to minimize step out, ensure executability of these wells.
So you don't have a proposed pad at this time?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Trigg,
Good morning.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Abby, can you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Abby Trigg. I'm employed by ConocoPhillips as a staff reservoir engineer, and my address is 935 North Eldridge Parkway, Houston, Texas 77079.
And Abby, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have not.
Can I have you briefly walk us through your educational background and relevant work experience?
Sure. I graduated from Louisiana State University with a bachelor's degree in petroleum engineering, and I have been employed by ConocoPhillips in a reservoir engineering capacity for 10 years.
Okay. And are you familiar with the engineering matters that are associated with these proposed spacing units?
I am.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Ms. Trigg be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Abby, let's look at your Exhibit 3.1. Can you describe for us how you would intend to drill and complete the wells?
Happily. As Brenton mentioned, the goal here is to drill out this DSU with 7 horizontal laterals. Each of these would be landed in the Middle Bakken Formation as shown on the schematic. We plan to drill and complete these with a 3-string casing design and with approximately 200-foot stage length that results in about 75 stages for the 15,000-foot lateral.
Okay. Let's move on to the next exhibit, 3.2, and if I could have you summarize the reservoir data for this spacing unit.
Happily. We're looking at the Middle Bakken Formation here. As you all are aware, it's a 1920 spacing unit. We're looking at an average of 6% porosity, about 80% oil saturation, and we anticipate each of these wells to recover about 650,000 stock tank barrels.
Okay. And then let's move on to 3.3. Can you describe the economics?
Yes, we're anticipating about a $12 million gross well cost per well here, and with the given 66% working interest and 55% revenue interest, our economics results in an economically viable well here, looking at about a $3.7 million discounted cash flow.
Okay. And Abby, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve this spacing unit, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 31503. Case number 31434, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, for an order amending the applicable orders for the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 25 and 36, Township 145 North, Range 95 West, and sections 4 and 9, Township 144 North, Range 95 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize 7 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP. And Mr. Examiner, this case, as well as the next two, 31435 and 31436, were both on the previous month's docket, and we offered witnesses and testimony in each of these 3 cases at that time. This got put on this docket because there was an issue with publication in the Dunn County paper, and that's why it's back on here. I don't have any additional testimony or witnesses on either of these 3 cases, but I do have, Mr. Examiner, Burlington Resources does need to request expedited orders for these cases. They're all 3 tied together, and I do have a landman with Burlington Resources that can give a little bit of color on the timing and what they'd need. If I could just have Mr. Mark Salvi speak to that.
Okay.
I mean, I don't think it needs to be like expert testimony or anything. Do you want me to? Mark, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Can you just identify yourself, Mark, and your position, and then just kind of explain to the commission the timing on the expedited orders that you'll need for those cases?
Yes, my name is Mark Salvi. I'm a staff land negotiator with ConocoPhillips. And the current plan is to start pad build in early May for these this pad for all the wells on that. And so to kind of achieve that and get the necessary permits, it'd be very helpful if we got an expedited approval on these bases.
That's all I had, Mr. Examiner. If the commission staff has any questions for Mr. Salvi.
Any questions from the staff? Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 31434. Case number 31435, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool to 1, terminate an overlapping 25 60-acre spacing unit described as sections 3, 4, 9, and 10, Township 144 North, Range 95 West. 2, extend the field outline to include all of sections 30 and 31, Township 145 North, Range 94 West, Dunn County, North Dakota. 3, establish a 5120-acre spacing unit in the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool consisting of sections 25 and 36, Township 145 North, Range 95 West, sections 30 and 31, Township 145 North, Range 94 West, and sections 3, 4, 9, and 10, Township 144 North, Range 95 West, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or 4, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP. And again, Mr. Examiner, same as the last case, already presented testimony, exhibits, and they need expedited order on this one as well.
Any questions from the staff? Yeah, we'll incorporate the records from all these previous cases into the,
Yep, and it is the same case number, so, but yes, absolutely.
Your land witness testified in the last case. You want us to take that same testimony in this case? So we'll just incorporate the record from the previous case?
Correct, from January, correct.
Well, we'll incorporate 41434 into this record so we have it in the record.
the request.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 31435. Case number 31436, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool to 1, terminate an overlapping 25 60-acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 5, 8, and 9, Township 144 North, Range 95 West. 2, establish a 5120-acre spacing unit in the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool consisting of sections 25, 26, 35, and 36, Township 145 North, Range 95 West, and sections 4, 5, 8, and 9, Township 144 North, Range 95 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP. And again, just same comments as the previous two cases.
And again, we'll incorporate the record from 31434 into this case. Any questions from the staff? That concludes our hearing for case number 31436. Case number 31437, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Murphy Creek Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 25 60-acre spacing unit described as sections 15, 16, 21, and 22, Township 144 North, Range 95 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 31437. Case number 31438, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company LP for an order amending the applicable orders for the Haystack Butte and or Lone Butte Bakken Pools, McKenzie County, North Dakota, to 1, terminate overlapping 1280-acre spacing units described as sections 5 and 6 and sections 7 and 18, Township 147 North, Range 98 West. 2, establish 2 overlapping stand-up 25 60-acre spacing units consisting of sections 30 and 31, Township 148 North, Range 98 West, and Sections 6 and 7, Township 147 North, Range 98 West, and Sections 20, 29, and 32, Township 148 North, Range 98 West, and Section 5, Township 147 North, Range 98 West, and authorize 7 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP. And Mr. Examiner, the same 3 witnesses from the first case will be testifying in this case as well.
Just a reminder, they're still under oath.
Okay. And Ashley, let's look at your first exhibit, and if you can identify each of the 2 proposed spacing units you're requesting.
Yes, so proposed spacing unit number 1 is inclusive of sections 30, 31 of 14898 and sections 6 and 7 of 14798. A blue outline that's indicating an underlying 1,280 acre spacing unit that has 1 well producing currently. Proposed spacing unit number 2 is inclusive of sections 20, 29, 32, 14898, and section 5 from 14798. You'll also see 2 underlying units that have existing 1 well production. The Walter, which is in orange, section 17 and 20, and the Hillman in green in sections 19 and 32. And once again, this is for both of these units will be for an overlapping 2560 stand-up with 7 wells at sea.
Okay. Let's move on to Exhibit 1.2, and then the first page of that exhibit. Can you take us through your working interest in each of those proposed 2560s?
Yes. So the proposed spacing unit number 1, which was inclusive of sections 30, 31, 6, and 7, Burlington's working interest is 60.12%. The remaining owners comprise 39.88%. The proposed spacing unit number 2, which was inclusive of sections 20, 29, 32, and 5, Burlington's interest is 61.03%, and the remaining owners comprise 38.97%.
Okay. And then let's move on to the next page of that exhibit. If you can start to take us through your working interest in those underlying spacing units.
Yes. Proposed spacing unit number 1, the first contributing DSU is the Colton. This is comprised of sections 30 and 31, and as previously mentioned, there is 1 existing producing well operated by Burlington. Burlington's working interest is 68.48%, and the remaining owners comprise 31.52%. The next contributing section is section 6, 14798. The working interest is Sinclair or SOGC with 46.29%, Phoenix Capital Group Holdings with 19.52%, the United States of America 11.52%, the Woody and Linda Watson Family Mineral Trust with 12.9%, and the Dixon Badlands Trust with 9.76%. The next contributing section is section 7 from 14798, and Burlington owns 100% of the working interest in that section. Moving on to the next page, this is the ownership for the contributing land for Unit 2. We have the Walt DSU. Once again, this is a single well, a DSU operated by Burlington, comprised of sections 17 and 20. Burlington has 71.09% working interest, and the remaining owners comprise 28.91%. Our next unit that's contributing is the Hillman. Burlington is also the operator of the single well currently existing. The unit comprises 29 and 32. Burlington owns 52.38% working interest, and the remaining owners comprise 47.62%. Moving on to the next page, the last contributing section, Section 5 of 14798, no current development. Burlington owns 68.76% working interest, and the remaining owners comprise 31.24%.
Okay. And Ashley, so currently, I believe sections 5 and 6 are an existing laydown 1280, and 7 and 18 are a stand-up 1280. Neither of those spacing units have any development, correct?
That is correct.
And those are inconsistent with sort of the plan that of development that you have going forward with this spacing, correct?
That is correct.
So we're seeking to terminate those two 1280s, correct?
Yes.
And Ashley, previously, SOGC had filed a motion to continue this case and indicated that they'd had some questions. Have you had an opportunity to communicate with SOGC with respect to your proposed spacing plans?
Yes, Burlington has been collaborating with SOGC over the last month on this matter, and they recently submitted a letter of support dated February 19th, 2025 in support of this current application. They're also in the process of submitting an application to space sections 18 and 19 of 14798 as a stand-up 1280.
Okay. I have no further questions for Ms. Hanson. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Ashley, the intent of SOGC to establish 18 and 19 as a stand-up 1280, does Burlington have any interest in those lands?
We do not.
So Burlington is proposing to split its existing stand-up 1280, 7 and 18 in half, and then just basically move down and make 18 and 19 a stand-up 1280. But then what happens to section,
Got it.
what happens to section 20? That's part of that laydown 1280, consisting of 19 and
believe-
20.
Yes, so SOGC, and from my understanding, will also include a respacing of section 20 as well. Looking at my notes a moment. I believe that they plan to space section 20 with 29 and 32 for a stand-up 1920 for 3-mile development.
Okay. Then that leaves section 30. It's kind of on an island then, so what happens to section 30?
I am not familiar with the plans for section 30, as Burlington does not have any interest in that section.
Do you think the commission should be concerned about what happens to section 30?
I'm not aware of any existing spacing as inclusive of section 30, so currently I do not have concern.
But the commission does. Would it be possible for you and SOGC to submit something for the record on how this respacing is gonna take place and how it's gonna not strand any sections?
I can definitely research the orders for this area and see if there's any current, spacing development that's inclusive of sections 30 and 31. Currently, I'm not aware of those two units or two sections being included in a spacing order.
Section 31 is part of a stand-up 1920. And again, I don't need you to research the spacing in the area. I need you to get together with Sinclair or SOGC and show the commission how this approval of this spacing unit is not going to end up stranding a section.
Yes, I can work with SOGC to see how this will impact the area.
Okay, thank you.
And Mark, SOGC did have attached some maps to their letter that they filed with the commission on February 19th, a series of maps that sort of lay out development to the south. I don't know if you had an opportunity to review any of that.
I have not, I assume that's not a case yet?
So they filed a letter in this case
Oh,
indicating
okay.
that they were supportive
Okay.
of, but attached to that letter, it indicated that they intend to file some applications on upcoming dockets to address spacing to the south. So yeah, there's no,
Let me look at that.
sure.
Wade, are you saying SOGC in their letter, they filed some maps that were attached,
Attachment to the letter, correct.
and these were submitted?
I believe so, yeah. There's exhibits, they're referenced in the letter and then attached as exhibits to the letter.
Not seeing them as part of the case file yet.
I don't know, I believe they were filed on the 19th,
Okay, thank you.
was my understanding. I haven't checked the case file docket yet, but
Do you happen to have copies with you?
I have a copy.
Do you want to submit it in case we haven't got the other part yet?
Yeah, that's fine. And I mean, I'm assuming it was filed by counsel for SOGC, and I did see like an email reflecting that it was filed, so I think that'll be okay. I mean, otherwise I wouldn't want to do so until communicating with their counsel, but I guess since there has been an email reflecting that it has been filed, I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. We'll take your comments into consideration on it too. It just,
Sure.
whatever the confusion is, I don't think we have.
Can I take a look at it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Okay, it does depict what Ashley talked about, but there still is the question of section 30. Ashley, can you submit something for the record on what you believe maybe the ownership is in section 30?
Yes, I can work with SOGC to see what their plans might be. I did want to note SOGC's original plan for Section 19 was currently spaced as like the laydown 19 and 20 at 1280 unit. So our respacing to the north doesn't have really an impact on the southern part. SOGC is simply just respacing Section 18 with their 19 as a stand-up, and then Section 20 with 29 and 32. So we just weren't privy to the information regarding the southern portion, so Section 30 as well. But I can collaborate with the landman at SOGC to see what their plans might be.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed with your next witness.
All right. Brenton, let's take a look at Exhibit 2.1, and if I can have you describe the structure underlying each of these proposed spacing units.
Yep, so this is the same structure map that we had on the previous case that I spoke to, and you can see the type log that we'll have on the next slide. Everything's kind of dipping gently off to the north, and we don't think that there's any drastic change in structure that would keep us from being able to execute these 20K wells.
Sure. And then let's move on to the type log, if you can take us through that exhibit.
It's also team type log and showing the gamma ray curve and highlighting the top of the Bakken severance pool and the base of the severance pool at the top of Bird Bear. And then these are all planned as middle Bakken wells shown by the kind of star
And then moving on to 2.3, let's look at how development would look like on each of these 22560s.
Yep, so these, you can see the 2560s shown there with the type log. Again, these are planned to be all middle Bakken wells at 7 well density, which is what's shown with the plan laterals that are highlighted. And the wells that be from surface locations in the north parts of these units drilled from north to south.
I have no further questions for Mr. Chentnik. I'd offer exhibits 2.1 through 2.3.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
You were looking to build these pads in May of 2025? Is that correct?
I think you might be referring to
Oh, a different one.
Murphy Creek case.
What are your spud dates for these then?
We're working on it in our development
So,
near term.
so nothing yet.
Correct.
Do you have pad locations picked for these already on the north ends?
Same as the previous case, we're evaluating multiple different pad locations to ensure proper executability of these longer laterals. So we do not have surface locations picked out as of yet.
Would you continue to produce those existing wells or evaluate them after completion?
Just like the rest of the parent wells, we will go through an exercise of whether we would refrac, plug and abandon, or continue to produce those wells, but that work has not been done yet.
Thank you.
Brenton, I believe you partially addressed this, but with the stand-up 2560, can you confirm Burlington expects no geologic hazards, faulting, or folding that'll cause problems for the drilling of the 4-mile laterals?
Yeah, nothing.
Okay. And I guess I'll ask you this question since you're projecting the wells. Has Burlington done 4-mile laterals yet?
We have, Burlington has not done formal, but we have some in our near-term development schedule that are upcoming later this year.
Okay. Can you give me an idea what the longest wells you've drilled to date are?
We are currently on location just east of this location at Tilton, and those are over 3-mile laterals.
And during the drilling of those, they're not seeing any problems. They're able to get weight on bit and no problems tripping the liners and whatnot?
We're currently in the process of landing our intermediate sections on that pad, and we will commence drilling of the laterals in the coming weeks to months.
Okay. Are you anticipating any problems drilling on the 4-mile wells?
I'm probably not in a position to answer that as a geologist.
Okay. Thank you.
Brenton, with these 4-mile laterals, can you drill them all from one pad, or will you have to have 2 pads per spacing unit?
That's one of the evaluation things with our drilling organization to understand what the optimal placement for our pads would be.
So Burlington doesn't know yet if they can execute them from one pad?
Correct. We haven't detailed well modeling in this particular area to date. But the good news is that out here we have several different pad locations that we believe we have the ability to use one or multiple pad locations if that's the recommendation by our drilling organization.
Okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
Okay. Abby, let's look at your 3.1, and can you describe for us how you'd propose to drill and complete each of these wells?
Or similar to that similar design to the previous case that we showed for you. We will have a 3-string casing design here. All wells anticipated to be landed in the Middle Bakken Formation with about 200-foot stage length, resulting in 100 stages for the 20K lateral.
And then moving on to 3.2, can you take us through the reservoir data?
Sure. As Brenton mentioned, there's not a lot of geologic variability in this area, so I have anticipated the same geologic features. And each of these wells, given the extended lateral length, is anticipated to produce around 780,000 stock tank barrels.
Okay. And then moving on to 3.3, can you take us through the economics for that first proposed spacing unit?
Sure. I've broken them out into 2 different exhibits here by spacing unit just because of the changing working interest and net revenue interest here. You can see that each of these wells is anticipated to have a discounted cash flow of around $5 million.
Okay. And then the second spacing unit economics on that, pretty similar?
Very similar, just changing interest values to match the interest that was outlined in the earlier exhibit.
Sure. And then Abby, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve each of these 2560s, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer the exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Abby, for the 4th mile, are you planning on treating the stages there any differently?
We're still evaluating completion optimization here. The current plan to date is to treat all stages equally.
Are you expecting any loss of efficiency from that 4th mile?
To date, we are not anticipating any significant loss in efficiency. I believe we project, I believe it's 75% efficiency for the last mile.
And what's the rate of efficiency for the first 3 miles?
100% efficiency.
Okay, thank you.
Wait, is March 5th enough time for, to submit that information on that one section?
I think so. Ashley, March 5th, that's sufficient time to follow up with SOGC, kind of respond to that question on section 30, I guess?
Yes, I can reach out today. I think March 6th. March 6th.
Yeah.
Okay. The record will remain open in this case until March 5th. And that concludes our hearing for case number 31438. Case number 31396, application of Burlington Resources Oil and Gas Company, LP, for an order amending the applicable orders for the Ranch Creek and/or Charlie Bob Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 19-20 acre spacing unit described as section 31, Township 146 North, Range 98 West, and section 6 and 7, Township 145 North, Range 98 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 31396. Case number 31504, application of Hesbakken Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Alger Bakken pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 15, 22, 27, and 34, Township 156 North, Range 92 West, Montreal County, North Dakota, and authorize 5 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been dismissed. That concludes our hearing for case number 31504. Case number 31251, application of Hess-Bakken Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Truax-Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 28, 29, 32, and 33, Township 154 North, Range 98 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize one horizontal well to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. David Phillips, P.O. Box 4247, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Hess-Bakken Investments 2 LLC. I have 3 witnesses. They're all appearing telephonically. Levi Greenlee, Jacob Smith, and Taylor Goy, and I believe they're all on the line.
Mr. Greenlee,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Levi, could you please state your name, tell us who you're employed by and in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Levi Greenlee. I'm employed by the Hess Corporation as a senior land negotiator with a business address of 1501 McKinney Street, Houston, Texas, 77010.
Have you previously testified before this commission, and has your qualifications received as that of an expert?
I have.
Are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with this proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
I move that the testimony of Mr. Greenlee be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
Levi, let's look at your Exhibit 1. Could you please identify the proposed spacing unit and describe what's shown on this exhibit?
Yes, on Exhibit 1 is the location map of Township 154 North, Range 98 West in Williams County. In blue are 2 existing stand-up 1280s, and in green is the requested overlapping 2560 stand-up lease line DSU.
And let's move on to Exhibit 2. Can you take us through your working interest in the proposed spacing unit and describe what this exhibit shows?
Yes, on Exhibit 2 is the land plat of the proposed 2560. In blue is the Hess-operated SC Ellingsburg DSU, where Hess owns 89.65% working interest, Cord with 6.24 or 6.25. And then in green is the Cord-operated P. Thomas DSU, where Cord owns 95% working interest. And the combined working interest of the proposed 2560 is Hess with a 44.83%, Cord Energy with a 50.74%, and others with 4.43%. Hess and Cord have had multiple discussions about this spacing, and Cord does not oppose the lease line spacing as proposed.
I have no further questions. I offer Exhibits 1 and 2.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Smith,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Jacob, please state your name, tell us whom you're employed by and in what capacity, and give your business address.
My name is Jacob Smith, employed by Hess Corporation as a geologist with a business address of 1501 McKinney Street, Houston, Texas, 77010.
Have you previously testified before the commission and had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with the geology underlying the spacing unit in this case?
Yeah, I am.
I move the testimony of Mr. Smith be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
Jacob, let's look at your Exhibit 3. Could you describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit and explain what Exhibit 3 shows?
This is a structure map of the top of the Middle Bakken, contour interval of 50 feet, showing that formation is dipping to the southwest. We've got the blue existing DSU outline and the green requested 2560. The purple A prime represents the wells used in the cross-section of the next exhibit.
Let's go on to that next Exhibit 4. Could you go through that cross-section?
Yep. is a stratigraphic cross-section of that A to A prime line flattened on the top of the Bakken down to the lower Three Forks, showing that the targeted formations are present continuous.
Thank you. I have no further questions. I offer Exhibits 3 and 4.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Jacob, what is your intended target for the proposed well?
Three Forks. Three Forks 1.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Goy or Ms. Goy?
Mr.
Mr. Goy,
Oh,
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
yes.
Taylor, could you please state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and in what capacity, and give your business address?
Yes. My name is Taylor Goy. I'm employed by Hess Corporation as a reservoir engineer. My business address is 1501 McKinney Street, Houston, Texas, 77010.
And have you previously testified before the commission and had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with the engineering matters that are associated with the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
I move that the testimony of Mr. Goy be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
Taylor, let's look at Exhibit 5. Could you describe how you intend to develop the proposed spacing unit and tell what Exhibit 5 shows?
Yes. So Exhibit 5 shows the proposed 2560 development. First section is 28, 29, 32, and 33. The highlighted dashed red line shows the proposed 2-mile lead line wells we drilled from the pad location denoted in blue.
Let's look at Exhibit 6. Could you summarize the reservoir data and then the economics for the proposed well?
Yes. So Exhibit 6 shows the reservoir and economic summaries for a single 2-mile Three Forks well in the Chirac Bakken. The EUR is around 545,000 processing barrels with a 2.3% recovery factor. Economics will run at $62 WTI flat and 100% working interest. Expected NPV is $6.1 million with a return on rate of return of 40%.
Taylor, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve this overlapping 2560 acre spacing unit, would it prevent waste, protect correlative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
I have no further questions. I offer Exhibits 5 and 6 and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Taylor, what was your spud date for this well?
This will be March 2026.
2026?
Correct.
And would this be drilled right down the section line, or is there any offset?
It'll be slight offset 50 feet to west of the line.
Thank you.
Taylor, I'm just confirming that the drilling will be done from an existing pad. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Thank you.
Taylor, looking at your Exhibit 6, your gross reservoir thickness there that you're indicating 77 feet, looks like the upper Three Forks that you indicated, or that was indicated as the target's only about 30 feet. Is that a Middle Bakken and Three Forks combination on that reservoir thickness, or is that just an error?
That's the combination.
Okay. So the economics you're presenting on 6 would be both Middle Bakken and Three Forks, kind of an average of the two zones?
No, sorry, the economics are run for the Three Forks part of it there.
The reservoir data?
Correct, yes, the reservoir data for the Three Forks on that.
Okay, so in that case, the thickness is something like 30 feet instead of 77? I mean,
Oh, yes, sorry, I think I misunderstood that, yes, correct.
okay, thank you.
Taylor, on Exhibit 6, your $11.3 million well cost, is that higher than you that Hess has submitted recently?
This, in Stony Creek, we have a 4-string design for the drilling of this well. That's why it's a little bit higher.
Okay, thank you.
Taylor, similar question to before. The other planned wells, are they planned to be drilled from that same existing pad?
That's correct. Yes, they do.
And do you plan to drill those at the same time as the lease line spacing well?
That's correct. Yep. Spud will be beginning in March and end in April.
Just to confirm, it's 4 total wells drilled from that existing pad?
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you.
All right, that concludes our hearing for case number 31251. This time, why don't we take a 10-minute break?
Yeah, guys, if you're on the line.
Okay, we are back on the record. We'll now call case number 31393. Application of Hesbach and Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Raybakken Pool, Williams County, North Dakota to 1, establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 13, 24, 25, and 36, Township 157 North, Range 97 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit. 2, establish an overlapping stand-up 3840 acre spacing unit described as sections 23, 24, 25, 26, 35, and 36, Township 157 North, Range 97 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit. Or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Hesbach Investments 2 LLC. And Mr. Examiner, the same 3 witnesses, Levi Greenlee, Jacob Smith, and Taylor Goy, will be testifying in this case. They just previously testified.
Okay, they're still under oath. You can proceed.
Levi, let's take a look at your exhibit number 1. Can you identify each of the proposed spacing units for us?
North, Range 97 West, in William County.
Hey, Levi.
In blue are
Levi, sorry to interrupt. You'd cut out for a moment. You want to just start over? We didn't catch that initial part.
Sure. Yeah, you guys got it now? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Exhibit 1 is the location map of Township 157 North, Range 97 West in Williams County. In blue are the existing DSUs, and then in green is the requested overlapping 2560 spacing, and in orange or yellow is the requested overlapping 3840 spacing.
Okay. And let's move on to exhibit number 2 and working interest in the 2560.
Yes, Exhibit 2 is the land plat of proposed overlapping 2560 spacing. In green is the Hess-operated Go Ron Anderson DSU, where Hess owns 71.2% working interest and others with 28.8%. In blue is the Silver Hill-operated Walden unit, where Hess owns 94% working interest. This is a part of that Silver Hill Walden unit is a part of an exchange agreement that Hess just signed with Silver Hill. Silver Hill is going to continue to operate the producing wells in that sections 24 and 25, but Hess is going to own the leasehold moving forward. So that's why it shows Hess with a large working interest there. And then in orange is the Hess-operated Go Anderson DSU, where Hess owns 87.5% working interest. The combined working interest of this proposed 2560 spacing is Hess with 86.68 and others with 13.32. And due to spud timing of the wells subject to this spacing, which is November 7th of 2025, so later this year, Hess is asking for expedited spacing on this case.
Okay. Let's take a look at that 3840 then and your working interest there, exhibit 3.
Yes, the Exhibit 3 is the land plat of the proposed 3840 spacing, which will be drilled with the same pad of the prior spacing in the same case. In green is the Hess-operated Tickle DSU, where Hess owns 75% working interest. In purple is the Hess-operated Go Overbow DSU, where Hess owns 40.93%, Northern Oil with 24%, and others with 35.06% working interest. In blue is the Silver Hill operated Walden unit, which I previously discussed, where Hess owns a 94% working interest. And in orange is the Go Anderson, Hess operated Go Anderson DSU, where Hess owns an 87.5% working interest. The combined working interest in this 3840 spacing is Hess with 77.85 and others with 22.15%.
Okay, I have no further questions. I'd offer exhibits 1 through 3.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Jacob, let's look at your exhibit number 4. Can you describe the structure underlying these proposed spacing units?
Yes, sir. This is a structure map on the top of the Middle Bakken, contour interval 50 feet, showing formation dipping to the west, southwest. The purple 8A prime represents the wells used in the next cross-section.
Okay. And then let's take a look at exhibit number 5, the cross-section.
All right. Yep. Stratigraphic cross-section from that purple 8A prime flattened on top Bakken formation, showing that our targeted formation is present continuous.
I have no further questions. I'd offer exhibits 4 and 5.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Okay. Taylor, let's look at exhibit 6, and can you describe for us how you would develop the 2560 as well as that 3840 with a lease line well?
Yeah, so Exhibit 6 shows our proposed 2560 development for sections 13, 24, 25. The dashed green lines show the proposed 4-mile wells to be drilled from the pad location denoted in blue. Additionally, Exhibit 6 shows the proposed 3840 development for sections 23, 24, 25, 26, 35, and 36. The highlighted dashed green line shows the proposed 3-mile well to be drilled from the pad location denoted in blue.
Okay. Then let's move on to exhibit number 7. Can you take us through the reservoir data and then the economics for that lease line 3-mile well?
Yeah, so Exhibit 7 shows the reservoir and economic summary for a single 3-mile Middle Bakken well in the Ray Bakken pool. Expected EUR is around 612,000 stock tank barrels with a 1.5% recovery factor. Economics will run at 62 barrels, WTI, $62 per barrel WTI flat, and 100% working interest. Expected MPV is 10.4 million with a rate of return of greater than 100%.
Okay. And then exhibit number 8, take us through reservoir and then the economics for the wells on the 2560.
Yeah, so Exhibit 8 shows the reservoir and economic summary for a single 4-mile Middle Bakken well, Ray Bakken pool. Expected EUR is around 670,000 stock tank barrels with a 2.5% recovery factor. Economics will run at $62 per barrel WTI flat and around 100% with interest. And expected NPV is 11.3 million with a rate of return greater than 100%.
Okay. And then let's look at exhibit number 9. Just take us through that and explain how kind of the full development ties in with development to the north.
Yes, so with Exhibit 9 shows proposed development for sections 13, 23, 24, 25, 26, 35, and 36. So the highlighted dashed green line show the proposed 3- and 4-mile wells just discussed in the previous exhibit. And then the non-highlighted dash green lines in with the 3-mile lease line to be reviewed in case 31394.
Which is the next case on the docket, correct?
Correct.
I have no further questions, or actually, I would like to ask you, Taylor, if this gets approved, both the 2560 and the 3840 for the lease line well, in your opinion, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay. I'd offer the exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Taylor, just confirming your intent for targeting on all the proposed wells is the Middle Bakken?
That's correct.
And then looking at your Exhibit 7, that gross thickness that you have presented for the reservoir data, that looks like it's a combination of the Middle Bakken and First Bench Three Forks thickness. Is that correct?
For that one, it's upper shale to the lower shale in the Middle Bakken.
Oh, so it's just the whole Bakken itself, not just the Middle Bakken?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Taylor, I'm looking at your Exhibit 6. If I was understanding Levi's testimony, Silver Hill still is going to operate those existing wells in that 1280, is that correct?
That's correct.
Are they planning to continue to produce these after your infill development, or are they plugging any of them?
To our knowledge, they will continue to produce these wells.
They didn't have any concerns about that open hole trilateral being filled up with sand?
No.
Has Hess drilled any 4-mile laterals yet?
Yes, we have. We drilled 2.
How long have they been producing?
Just short of a month right now.
Did you treat the 4th mile for your stimulation any differently than the rest, or was it just consistent across all 4
It was
miles?
consistent across.
And-
Sorry, yeah, consistent across all 4 miles.
And it may be early to say at this point, probably is, but did you observe any reduced efficiency in that 4th mile compared to the first 3?
Currently, like you mentioned, it is too early to really mention anything on that. However, right now the performance is going as expected.
Outside of observing the actual production, is there any anticipated reduction in efficiency for that 4th mile that Hess has determined?
I don't believe so. We have an observational lateral on those 2 currently producing, and that should give us insight on activity of the 4th mile if we do see any degradation in it.
And for your section line well, is that going to be drilled right down the section line, or is there offset?
That one will be right on.
And these would be batch drilled?
Correct.
And did you have an anticipated spud date?
Yes, anticipated date is November 25.
Thank you.
Taylor, on Exhibit 6, the blue pad in the south, is that a new pad or an existing pad? It looks like there's a well with a surface location just to the west of there, so I just want to understand that.
It's a new, yep, it's a new pad right there.
Is the well, is Hess going to operate the single well miles in section 13 and 36?
The plan will be to abandon those wells.
And reclaim the surface locations of both of those as well?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes the hearing for case number 31393. Case number 31394, application of Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Ray Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 3840 acre spacing unit described as sections 1, 2, 11, 12, 13, and 14, Township 157 North, Range 97 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Hess Bakken Investments 2 LLC. Same 3 witnesses testifying in this case.
Yep, Mr. Underoath.
Okay, and Levi, let's look at exhibit number 1. Can you identify your proposed spacing unit?
Yes, Exhibit 1 is the location of Township 157 North, Range 97 West in Williams County. In blue are the existing DSUs. In orange is the requested overlapping 3840 spacing.
And moving on to exhibit 2, can you take us through the working interest?
Yes, on the Exhibit 2 land plat, we have the proposed 3840 spacing. In green is the Hess-operated Go Quali DSU, with Hess having a 67.6% working interest. And in blue is the Hess-operated Go Purdue DSU, with a 42.4% working interest. And then in orange is the Hess-operated Go Ron Anderson DSU, with Hess having a 71.16% working interest. And in purple is the Hess-operated Go Overbow DSU, with Hess having a working interest of 40.93. And the overall combined working interest in the proposed 3840 is Hess with 55.34, Northern Oil with a 13.31, and others with 31.35.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer exhibits 1 and 2.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right. Jacob, let's look at your exhibit number 3. Can you describe the structure underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, sir. Similar to the previous case, in the same region, this is the top middle block construction map, full 50 foot, showing formation dips to the west, southwest. In blue is the existing DSUs, and in the gold color is the requested 3840. The purple 8 to 8 prime represents the wells I used in the next cross section.
Okay. And let's look at the cross section. Take us through that exhibit.
Yes, sir. So this cross section is flattened on the top of the Bakken formation along the 8 to 8 prime trajectory, showing that our middle Bakken target is present and continuous.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer exhibits 3 and 4.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Taylor, let's look at exhibit number 5. Can you describe how you'd intend to develop this spacing unit?
Yes, so Exhibit 5 shows the proposed 3840 development sections 1, 2, 11, 12, 13, and 14. The highlighted dash green line shows the proposed 3-mile lease line well to be drilled from the pad location denoted in blue. I will quickly note here on the 2 eastern wells, they drag those lines too long in the picture, and those are in fact only the 2-mile laterals from the previous case. That's where our 4-mile laterals are coming through, so I apologize on the diagram.
Okay. And let's move on to exhibit 6. Can you take us through the reservoir data and the economics?
Yes, Exhibit 6 shows reservoir and economic summary for a single 3-mile middle Bakken well in the Ray Bakken pool. Expected EUR is around 612,000 stocktank barrels with a 1.5% recovery factor. Economics will run at $62 per barrel that's got flat and 100% working interest. Expected MPV is 10.4 million with a rate of return greater than 100%.
And Taylor, if the commission were to approve the 3840 to allow for the drilling of that lease line well, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes.
Okay, I have no further questions that offer exhibits 5, 6, and the gas capture affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Taylor, what's your spud date for this location?
The spud date for this location is September 2028.
2028?
Correct.
And would that section line well be drilled right on the line, or is there an offset?
Right on the line.
Thank you.
Taylor, on your exhibit 5, the dark green lines, bold lines you have, those should be dashed, is that right?
No, sorry, let me, I guess, yes, correct. They would, the new wells for dash line.
Okay, thank you.
That is, yeah.
Okay, that concludes our hearing for case number 31394.
We need to get an updated plan showing the bottom 2.
Who asked for that?
We don't need an updated plan for that.
I have no idea. Did somebody ask for it?
Okay.
Case number 31505, application of Kraken Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the new home, Bakken Pool, to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 4, 9, 16, and 21, Township 158 North, Range 97 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 5 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Kraken Operating LLC. I have 3 witnesses appearing telephonically, Justin Payne, Brian Lucero, and Josh Lochner, and I need to call them. Hey guys, can you hear me? All right, live in the hearing room.
Mr. Payne,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
That is correct.
Justin, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
My name is Justin Payne, Justin, Payne, Payne. I'm employed by Kraken Resources at 945 Bunker Hill Road, Houston, Texas, 77024.
Justin, have you previously testified before this commission?
I have not.
Why don't you go ahead and briefly...
Wait, if I
yeah.
can interrupt, he didn't identify what he was testifying as.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. What's your position with Kraken? What are you going to be testifying to?
I'm a landman at Kraken Resources.
Sure. And why don't you go ahead then and give us your educational background and then your relevant work experience?
Okay, so I have a BBA in economics from Texas State University, graduated in 2011. I've been employed as a landman throughout Texas, Louisiana, Montana, North Dakota since then, and I have been with Kraken Resources a little over 5 years currently.
Okay. And Justin, are you familiar with the land matters that are associated with this proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Mr. Payne be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Justin, let's start with your L1, if you can identify the area of the proposed spacing unit.
Exhibit L1 is the regional locator map showing the new home Bakken Pool within Williams County, North Dakota, showing Township 158 North, Range 97 West.
Okay. And then let's move on to L2, if you can identify the proposed spacing unit and your working interest.
Exhibit L2 is the outline map showing sections 4, 9, 16, and 21 in Township 158 North, Range 97 West. Outlined in sections 4 and 9 shows Kraken with a working interest of 95.02% working interest. Within sections 16 and 21 shows Kraken with 74.8% working interest with a combined total of 84.91% working interest within the 4 sections.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Payne. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Lucero,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Brian, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, sir. My name is Brian Lucero. I am employed by Kraken Resources as their geology manager. Our address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Houston, Texas, 77024.
And Brian, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, sir, I have.
Have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, I have.
Are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Lucero be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Brian, let's start with G1, your structure map. Can you take us through that exhibit?
Yes, sir. Exhibit G1 is a structure map based on the top of the Middle Bakken Formation. 50-foot contour interval. It demonstrates dip generally to the south-southwest. Does outline the unit in question as well as the location of our type log.
And let's go through G2, your ISOPAC map.
Yes, sir. G2 is an isopac map of the Middle Bakken Formation, half-foot contour interval. Shows an average Middle Bakken thickness of approximately 57 feet across the unit, and again, also shows the location of our type log.
Okay. And let's move on to G3. Can you walk us through your type log?
G3 is just it is the OA's number one. It is our typical log for this area.
Okay. And I have no further questions for Mr. Lucero. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Brian, your intended target for the wells?
Middle Bakken.
And regarding the geology across the 2560, any geologic hazards, faulting or folding that you anticipate encountering?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not that I'm presently aware of.
Have you evaluated the logs from the two wells that were drilled in each of the existing spacing units?
Not extensively, no.
I'm assuming you're not aware of any problems either of those two wells encountered.
No, sir, not at all.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Lochner,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, I do.
Josh, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is Joshua Lochner. I'm employed by Kraken Resources Group as a reservoir engineer, and our address is 945 Bunker Hill Road, Suite 1200, Easton, Texas 77024.
Have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
And have you had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with the proposed spacing?
I am.
I'd move the testimony of Mr. Lochner be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Josh, let's look at E1. How would you propose to develop this spacing unit?
Exhibit E1 is a proposed development diagram for this exhibit, encompassing sections 21, 16, 9, and 4 in Township 15897. The wells that we are spacing in this area that we intend to drill are shown in green dashed lines. There are 5 within the DSU. DSU is highlighted in blue, and the proposed pad location is shown in a green box just south of the spacing.
Okay. Then looking at E2, how would you propose to drill and complete the wells?
Exhibit E2 is a lateral wellbore schematic for a 4-mile, 20,000-foot lateral well. We plan to use a 4-string design, which includes the conductor casing, surface casing, intermediate casing, and production liner, which will be hung within the intermediate casing. We plan to complete this well with a plug-and-perf strategy with about 167 feet staged.
Okay. Then looking at E3, can you summarize the reservoir data for us?
E3 is the reservoir data for this particular spacing unit. We can assume in boilerplate 6 million barrels per section. And when we consider the porosity of 89% and reservoir pressure of 5,800 psi, we estimate the EUR of this 2560 well to be about 735,000 barrels of oil, leading to a recovery factor of 3 to 4%. The GOR, we expect to start at 700 and then rise to 1,500 over the first couple of years of production, and then remain steady thereafter.
Okay. Then looking at E4, can you describe what the economics look like for the wells?
Exhibit E4 is the 2560 acre DSU well economics. As I said previously, we expect each well to produce an ultimate 735,000 barrels of oil. And when running the economics, assuming a $12.6 million investment and $70 flat price for oil, $2.75 flat for gas, the project is estimated to return a value of $5.6 million with a rate of return of 40% and a DROI of 1.5. This is assuming 100% work, 80% anaerobic.
Okay. And Josh, in your opinion, would this spacing prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, it will.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Josh, what's your anticipated spud date?
Anticipated spud date is mid-December of this year.
And would you be batch drilling all of these?
Yes, we would.
What are your plans for the existing wells?
So there are two existing wells within the spacing unit. The ones in the north, Southard 1-4H, we plan to isolate before frac and then probably clean it out after we drill and complete the 2560 wells and then return them to production. The 2 mile well to the south, the Terry Larson 1-21-16H et cetera, had, from what we can tell, this is a well that we acquired about a year ago, old legacy well. And from what we can tell, the completion did not go very well. Only 2 or 3 stages were ever pumped on the well, and there appears to be a casing collapse. So, in light of that, it never really produced very much. In fact, to date, over the past 15 years, it's only produced 45,000 barrels of oil. We considered refracking this well, but due to the casing issues, we didn't think it was viable. So we will likely P&A this well and then drill over the top of it to capture the reserves that were unstimulated by this sort of unproductive well in the unit.
Has Kraken drilled any of their 4 mile wells yet?
This would be our first 4 mile well in North Dakota, although we have drilled 4 mile wells in Montana, and we have drilled 3.5 milers in North Dakota.
Are you planning on stimulating that 4th mile any differently?
No, we find that we can do a good job of stimulating it without too much effort. With the 4 miles in Montana, there's increased friction pressure, of course, with the extra lateral length, but it wasn't anything insurmountable.
How long have you produced those wells in Montana?
Those are 4 or 5 months. It's been 4 or 5 months.
And in observing those, did you note any reduced efficiency from that 4th mile?
No, we've been pretty pleased with the production results so far.
Thank you.
On exhibit, I guess it's E1, the pad labeled number 5, is this a new pad or going to be drilled off the existing pad that you, of the well that you'll P&A?
That will be a new pad.
And if you P&A the well just to the west there, you plan to reclaim that location?
Yes.
Thank you.
That concludes your hearing for case number 31505. Case number 31506. Application of Enerplus Resources USA Corp. for an order amending the applicable orders for the South Fork Bakken Pool to establish 2 overlapping 2560 acre spacing units described as sections 13, 14, 23, and 24, and sections 15, 16, 21, and 22, Township 148 North, Range 93 West, Dunn County, North Dakota, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled on each such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Enerplus Resources USA Corp. I have 3 witnesses testifying, Ben Plank, John Prim, and Eva Tomova Medina, and I need to call them.
Okay.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay? All right, we're live and ready to go.
Mr. Plank,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
I do.
Ben, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Sure. My name is Ben Plank. I'm employed by Enerplus Resources, a subsidiary of Cord Energy. Our address is 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002. And I'm a landman for our North Dakota First Asset.
Sure. And Ben, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes, they were.
And you're familiar with the land matters that are associated with these 2 spacing units?
Yes, sir, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Plank be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Ben, let's look at L1 first, and if I can have you identify each of the spacing units.
Sure. So Exhibit L1 is just a general locator map, which shows the general location of the 2 proposed 2560 acre overlapping units located on the Fort Berthold Indian Reservation, comprised of sections 13, 14, 23, and 24 of Township 148 North, Range 93 West, and sections 15, 16, 21, and 22, Township 148 North, Range 93 West, located in the South Fork field.
Okay. And then let's look at L2, and if you can describe your working interest in that 2560.
Sure. So L2 depicts the first proposed 2560 acre overlapping unit comprised of sections 13, 14, 23, and 24, where Enerplus would have a 95% working interest.
Okay. And moving on to L3, if you can take us through the working interest in the underlying spacing units that make up that 2560.
Sure. L3, yeah, as you stated, depicts the underlying space unit to the proposed overlapping 2560. So sections 13 and 14, outlined by the orange line, the laydown 1280, that Enerplus operates at 100% working interest. And to the south, sections 23 and 24, outlined by the blue line, which is laid out 1280, that Enerplus operates at a 90% working interest.
Okay. And moving on to L4, the other proposed 2560, can you take us through the working interest in that one?
Yes, so the second proposed 2560 comprises sections 15, 16, 21, and 22. We would have a working interest at a 63%.
Okay, and then L5, the working interest breakdown on those underlying spacing units.
Yeah, so again, we have two laid out 1280s. To the north is outlined by the orange line. That's the laid out 1280 that comprises section 1516. Enterplus operates at a 77% working interest. And then to the south is section 21 and 22, outlined by the blue line. Space the laid out 1280, where Enterplus operates the north half of the unit, the two wells to the north, at 100% working interest, and then WPX operates the four wells to the south at a 100% working interest. So in the overall 1280, Enterplus and WPX both have a respective 50% working interest.
Sure. I have no further questions for Mr. Plank. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Mr. Prim,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
John, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, my name is John Prim. I'm a geologist for Cord Energy, parent company of Enterplus Resources USA. Our business address is 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas, 77002.
And John, have you previously testified before the commission?
I have.
Had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes,
And are you familiar with the geology underlying the proposed spacing units?
I am.
I'd move the testimony of Mr. Prim be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And John, let's start with G1, if you can describe the structure underlying these spacing units.
Sure. G1 show is centered over Township 148 North, Range 93 West, with the two proposed spacing units highlighted. The contours show the Upper Bakken structure map and is showing that the structure is dipping to the west from approximately negative 8180 subsea TVD to negative 8300 feet subsea TVD. Also highlighted is the type well, the Pumpkin 14893 14C 13H TF, which will be shown in Exhibit G3.
Sure. Let's move on to G2, if you can take us through your ISOPAC map.
Sure. So this is an isopac of the Middle Bakken interval, centered over the same area with the same things highlighted. It is showing that the Middle Bakken over these two proposed spacing units is approximately 42 to 43 feet thick.
Okay. And then finally, the type log.
Yeah, so this is the previously mentioned Pumpkin well that was highlighted on previous exhibits, and it is showing the subsurface characteristics that we expect to encounter over the Middle Bakken interval.
Okay. I have no further questions for Mr. Prim. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? Ms. Tomova Medina,
Yes, sir.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Eva, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed and what capacity, and give us your business address?
Yes, sir. My name is Eva Tomova Medina, and I'm a development advisor at Cord Energy. Our address is 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas 77002.
And Eva, are you familiar with the engineering matters associated with these two proposed spacing units?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I'd move the testimony of Ms. Medina be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Eva, let's start with E1. Can you describe how you would develop each of these two 2560s?
Yes, sir. So on this exhibit, you can see the effectual in purple. The surface location is highlighted with the gray box. And the development will spur alongside the adjacent development in section 15 and 16, as well as 14 and 13. Currently planned to spud September 2025.
Okay. Let's move on then to E2, and if you can take us through the reservoir data and then the economics.
Yes, sir. Looking at the reservoir data, as mentioned before, there's maybe two Middle Bakken wells. Initial reservoir pressure around 7,765 psi, 43-foot net pay, 5% porosity. Expected EUR around 230 MBO. The economics are run at $75 per barrel and 3.75 MCF dollars per MCF, and shown there in the table as well.
Okay. And Eva, in your opinion, if the commission approves these two 2560s to allow for the lease line wells on each one, in your opinion, is that going to prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I do.
I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Eva, how far off the section line will these be drilled?
Currently, they're planned on the section line, on the zero line.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Eva, on Exhibit E1, is the existing pad in gray, is that the existing pad for the wells that are already there? Is that the location for these as well?
Yep.
Is there any other drilling activity in the area, or just these two wells when you guys move a rig up there? Eva, did you hear my question? Are they still on?
Eva, are you there? Hello?
You lost them.
Can any of you guys hear me? Try to dial back in. Maybe hang up and try it again.
Sure. That's weird.
Yeah, that's odd.
Yeah. She was furious.
Hey guys, can you hear me? Yeah, I don't know what happened. We just lost connection to you guys here in the hearing room, but anyway, we're back live now in the hearing room. And I don't know, Eva, I'm not sure if you heard Mr. Anderson's question.
Yep. I did hear it and I did answer, but you guys could not hear me. So, yes, the section line walls will be developed at the same time with the sections just to the north of them. So 13, 14, 15.
I got my answer. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
That concludes the hearing for case number 31506. Case number 31507, application of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. for an order amending the applicable orders for the Pronghorn Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560 acre spacing unit described as sections 18, 19, 30, and 31, Township 150 North, Range 101 West, McKenzie County, North Dakota, and authorize 3 horizontal wells to be drilled in such unit, or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Whiting Oil and Gas Corp. And Mr. Examiner, the geology and engineering witnesses will remain the same, but Greg Sandberg will be the land witness.
Mr. Sandberg,
Yes.
do you solemnly swear or affirm under the penalties of perjury the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be true and correct to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes, sir.
Greg, can I have you state your name, tell us by whom you're employed, in what capacity, and give us your business address?
Greg Sandberg, employed by Whiting Oil and Gas, a subsidiary of Port Energy. I am a landman. Address is 1001 Fannin Street, Suite 1500, Houston, Texas, 77002.
And Greg, have you previously testified before the commission?
Yes, I have.
Had your qualifications received as that of an expert?
Yes.
And are you familiar with the land matters associated with the proposed spacing unit?
Yes, I am.
Okay, I'd move the testimony of Mr. Sandberg be received as that of an expert.
Motion granted.
And Greg, let's take a look at L1. Can you identify the proposed spacing unit?
Absolutely. So L1's locator map here, identifying the proposed spacing unit at sections 18, 19, 30, and 31 of Township 150 North, Range 101 West.
And moving on to L2, can you take us through your working interest?
Yep. The proposed spacing unit would have a working interest to court of almost 77%.
Okay. And then moving on to L3, the working interest in the underlying base units.
In the underlying base units there, the DSU made up of sections 18 and 19. We have a 66.26% working interest, and sections 30 and 31 is 87.64.
I have no further questions for Mr. Sandberg. I'd offer the land exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? The remaining witnesses are still under oath, so you can proceed.
All right, John, let's look at your structure map, G1. Can you describe the structure here?
Yes, so G1 is centered over Township 150 North, Range 101 West, with the proposed spacing unit outlined in the yellow dash box. Our contours are showing the upper Bakken structure map, showing a slight dip to the southeast from approximately negative 8560 sub-CTBD to negative 8620 sub-CTBD. Like the previous case, the type well, the Frederickson 120 is highlighted on the map as well.
Okay. And let's look at your ISOPAC map. Can you take us through that, G2?
Yep, so the map is over the same area with the same things highlighted. The contours now are showing the middle Bakken thickness, an ISOPAC map. And you see the 26 contour there, kind of going right through the eastern side of that proposed spacing unit, showing that the approximate thickness of the middle Bakken in this spacing unit is about 25 to 26 feet thick.
Okay. And then moving on to G3, can you describe what we're looking at in that type log?
Yep, so this is that Frederickson 120 well, as highlighted before, showing the triple combo in the subsurface centered over the middle Bakken and Three Forks intervals.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
The exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
John, looking at your exhibit G1, the short horizontal laterals in there that you've got depicted in gray, those are
Yes,
Madison target, correct?
that's correct.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, one more set of questions for you. The 2560 spacing unit that you're planning to develop, any geologic hazards anticipated, faulting or folding across the spacing unit?
No.
Okay. And was anything observed from the original wells that were drilled in those spacing units?
No,
Okay,
not to my, not from my previous research.
okay, thank you.
You can proceed.
Okay, Eva, E1, how would you develop this spacing unit?
So, E1 highlights the proposed development of this 2560 unit, comprised of sections 18, 19, 30, and 31, with 3 proposed middle Bakken wellbores highlighted in purple on this exhibit. The tentative surface location is on the north side. Currently, we're evaluating options, but this looks like the most likely as of today.
Sure. Let's move on then to E2, and if you could summarize the reservoir data and then what the economics would look like.
Yes, sir. So for E2, here we're highlighting the reservoir properties at the top, showing the middle Bakken as the target formation, 26 foot of average net pay, 6% porosity. For well EOR, we're expecting just under 750 MBO per well, and the economics per run again is at 75 and 375 for gas, for oil and gas. And the economics are highlighted on there as well.
And Eva, if the commission approves this spacing for this planned development, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, I have no further questions. I would offer the engineering exhibits and the gas capture plan affidavit.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Eva, what's your anticipated spud date?
October 2025.
And would you be batch drilling these?
Yes, sir.
Are you planning on continuing to produce those existing 2-mile laterals?
We'll have to evaluate that after the frac from the new wells are completed and determine if it's economic or not.
How many stages are you planning?
We have not finalized the completion plan for them quite yet, but I can get back to you on that.
So I realize that you haven't finalized plans yet, but do you plan on stimulating the 4th mile any differently, or is that still under
Yes.
evaluation?
The 4th mile will be stimulated the same as the rest of the wellbore.
Has Cord or Whiting drilled any 4-mile laterals yet?
Yes, we have. We've actually just finished cleaning out our first 4-mile well successfully.
So it hasn't been producing very long at this point.
We have not yet produced it. It's set to sell any minute.
In evaluating your 4-mile laterals, do you expect any reduced efficiency for the 4th mile?
I can't comment on that.
Okay, thank you.
Eva, on your Exhibit E2, the original oil in place per 640, can you just tell me what that number is? There's a line through it. And
I'll have to refer to John. See that
Oh,
together.
You're saying there's a little line through it? Yeah, I think it's 60, 70. I don't know why there's that line there kind of at the end. I guess I don't know exactly what you're looking at, but as far as the line, but I think it's 60, 70.
That's it, thank you.
Yep.
Well, John, along those lines, you're saying, is that 60, 70 barrels?
That's in thousands of barrels per 640.
So that's MBO.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
That concludes our hearing for case number 31507. Case number 31508, application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Door and/or Assenboyne Bakken Pools, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, to 1. Establish 2 overlapping laydown 1920 acre spacing units described as sections 10, 11, and 12, and sections 13, 14, and 15, Township 151 North, Range 104 West, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on each such unit. 2. Establish 2 overlapping laydown 38, 40 acre spacing units described as sections 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, and sections 13, 14, 15, 22, 23, and 24, Township 151 North, Range 104 West, and authorize 1 horizontal well to be drilled in each such unit. Or 3, granting such other relief as may be appropriate. All interested parties, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. Examiner. Wade Mann, P.O. Box 2798, Bismarck, North Dakota, appearing in this case on behalf of Oasis Petroleum North America, LLC, and it'll be the same 3 witnesses in this case as the previous case.
And you can proceed.
All right, Greg, let's start with L1. If you can identify each of the spacing units for us.
L1 locator map here showing the 4 proposed spacing units comprised of section 10, 11, and 12 for the north, laydown 1920, 15, 14, and 13 for the south, laydown 1920, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15 for the section line there in the middle, shown in the green hash line, and 13, 14, 15, 22, 23, and 24 for the southern section line, shown there in the gray hash line. One thing I will mention, too, is that Oasis is bringing this case. Whiting Oil and Gas does operate the underlying wells and will be the operator of these proposed DSUs.
Okay. Let's look at your working interest in each of those proposed spacing units you just referenced. L2.
All right. In the northern 1920, they're shown in the red outline, 52.41%, and the southern 1920 in the blue box, 64.17%, and the center section line in the green hash line, 58.29, and then the southern section line there in the gray hash line, 72.54%.
Okay. And then the breakdown of the underlying spacing units, L3.
Absolutely. So green hashed outline there, sections 10 and 15, 83%, and the one labeled B in the red hashed outline, 37%. C in the blue hashed outline, 54.7%. D in the purple outline, 88.2%. And finally, E in the yellow outline, 77.25%.
All right. I have no further questions. I'd offer the land exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
All right, John, let's look at your structure map G1. Can you walk us through that exhibit?
Yep, so G1 shows the upper Bakken structure map centered over Township 151 North, Range 104 West, with the 4 proposed spacing units outlined in various colors there, as well as the Hart-Paulson 2443 type well highlighted in the red dot with the yellow circle there. The contour intervals are 20 feet spacing for subsea TVD space, and it's showing that the upper Bakken is dipping to the east-southeast from approximately negative 8380 to negative 8440.
Okay, and let's look at the ISOPAC map. Take us through that on G2.
Sure. So it is a isopack of the Middle Bakken interval, centered over the same area as described before, and it is showing that we have an approximate thickness for the Middle Bakken of 28 feet across the area.
Okay. And then on G3, if you can describe what we're looking at on the type log.
Sure. So G3 shows the Hart-Paulson 2443 triple combo, showing what we expect to encounter as far as reservoir properties in the subsurface over the Middle Bakken and Upper Three Forks intervals.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the geology exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff? You can proceed.
Okay. Eva, let's look at E1 and let's start, if you could describe how you'd intend to develop each of those two proposed 1920s.
Yes, sir. Again, on this exhibit, we're showing the proposed 1920s in the red box. We put both of them on one exhibit here for ease, and the next exhibit will have a section line model that Greg mentioned earlier. So currently planning 4 Middle Bakken wellbores per 1920 as illustrated on here, and the tentative surface locations are highlighted with the gray box there. It's going to be most likely 2 or 1 large off-lease location.
Okay. Let's move on then to E2, and if you could just describe how you developed those two 3840s for those section line wells.
Yep, so the section line wells will be developed alongside the 1920 just mentioned from the same location at the same time.
Okay. And then let's look at E3. Take us through the reservoir data and then the economics for the 1920s.
Yeah, so on this exhibit, we're showing the 1920 reservoir properties and economics. Reservoir properties they're both pretty similar with the section line cases. So formation Middle Bakken, 28 foot net pay, 840, 1 MBO per well, rent at the $75 per barrel at $3.75 dollars per MCF.
Okay. And then E4, as you indicated, is essentially the same, just you're looking at the 3840 spacing as opposed to the 1920.
Yes, sir.
And then, Eva, in your opinion, if the commission were to approve these two 1920s and also allow the 3840s for those section line wells, would that prevent waste, protect relative rights, and prevent the drilling of unnecessary wells?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have no further questions. I'd offer the engineering exhibits.
Exhibits are admitted. Any questions from the staff?
Eva, would you be batch drilling all 10 of these wells?
Yes, sir.
And what's your planned spud date?
So currently, we are splitting those in November of 2025.
And for the section line wells, how far off the section line would they be drilled, or right down it?
On the 0 line.
And do you have any plans at this time for those existing 2-mile wells?
No, sir. We'll evaluate those after this development on an individual basis.
Okay, thank you.
Even on Exhibit E1, in your testimony, you indicated that tentative surface locations could be 2 locations or 1 large location. When is that gonna be known?
Closer to possibly, we're evaluating it as we speak. So
Is it topographic reasons that you would possibly have to have two locations instead of the single large site?
there's various reasons we're evaluating that. So we'll just have to wait for our team to come up with the best design, both for topographic reasons, but also well step out reasons and inclination consideration for artificial lift.
So if it is two different locations that are gonna be used, and you indicated to be batch drilled, are you gonna have a rig on each of those locations at the same time, or would you drill the northern or southern first and then move the rig up to the other pad?
So currently we're planning to drill those with two rigs from two different pads as shown on this exhibit.
This question's for Wade, and I don't think it necessarily matters, but I'm still gonna ask it because I understand Court is parent of all these different entities, but if Whiting's operating these wells, why did Oasis make the application?
I mean, Greg can probably confirm, but I think it's like ownership of like leasehold or working interest. Is that accurate, Greg?
Yeah, I think probably this one's more of an oversight. We just put it under the wrong company.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Eva, on your exhibit E3, the original oil in place, is that supposed to be 7.5?
Yes, sir. We need to align between all of our exhibits on that. I apologize. We need to go back and probably address those OAPs. But yes, 7.58.
Okay, thank you.
Eva, back to the pad surface location questions. It appears like there's surface locations in the east side of 12 and the east side of 3. Is that correct? Of existing wells? And would there be, and if there is, would there be any consideration for utilizing the existing pads, or are those not suitable?
With my understanding, we're not currently looking at utilizing existing pads for this development.
Is there, I mean,
But again, these are all sensitive locations, so if you guys would like for us to supply our decision once that comes available with our plan pad location, we will be more than happy to. But as far as me speaking about what we're going to end up doing right now, it's still under evaluation.
okay,
So I would be just guessing.
yeah, well, thank you.
All right, that concludes our hearing for case number 31508. Case number 31248, application of Oasis Petroleum North America LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the McGregor and/or Midway Bakken pools to establish an overlapping stand-up 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 29 and 32, Township 158 North, Range 95 West, and sections 5 and 8, Township 157 North, Range 95 West, Williams County, North Dakota, and authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit or granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to the March hearings. That concludes the hearing for case number 31248. Case number 31509, application of Phoenix Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for for the Kittleson Slough Bakken Pool to establish an overlapping 38, 40-acre space unit described as sections 2, 3, 10, and 11, Township 157 North, Range 91 West, and sections 34 and 35, Township 158 North, Range 91 West, Montreal County, North Dakota, and to authorize one horizontal well to be drilled in such unit and grant such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our March hearings. That concludes the hearing for case number 31509. Case number 31238, application of Phoenix Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Ranch Creek Charlie Bob Bakken Pool to establish a 2560-acre spacing unit described as sections 29 and 32, Township 146 North, Range 98 West, and sections 5 and 8, Township 145 North, Range 98 West, Mackenzie County, North Dakota, and to authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit and granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our March hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31238. Case number 31264, application of Phoenix Operating LLC for an order amending the applicable orders for the Little Knife Bakken Pool to establish a 1920-acre spacing unit described as sections 5, 8, and 17, Township 144 North, Range 98 West, Billings County, North Dakota, and to authorize 4 horizontal wells to be drilled on such unit and granting such other relief as may be appropriate. This case has been continued to our March hearings. That concludes our hearing for case number 31264. And that concludes our hearings for the day.